Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This week I'm going to be showing you how you can take some of the more important elements of your mix from this to this. And that before and after was achieved with just one plugin, KStrip, our modular channel strip. Now what I meant whenever I referenced the more important elements of your mix, I meant everything that comes top to mind. The kick, the snare, the bass, used it on some of the guitar leads and the rhythm guitars. So let's go ahead and get into it and let me show you what settings I used on each channel. Alright, so the track that we're going to be listening to today is a song I mixed for the band Vault 51 sometime last year called Backstabber. So starting with the kick drum, I opened this up and right away I just wanted to gravitate towards the end module for the saturation. I really like what it does for drum shells in particular. I used the S mode on the EQ, boosting a little bit of 9 to 10K, 3 or 4 dB just to make it a little bit brighter. I also boosted around 2.5K, a dB or two to kind of get that attack and bite out of my kick drum that I like. And I cut some 400 to 500 boxiness while also boosting a little bit of low end on the kick drum. And I used this A module with a hard knee feed forward type compression. I dialed it in at a 4:1 ratio with a slightly faster attack and a really fast release, and this is what it sounded like before and after. It's also worth noting that I used our built-in gate. I also did use the transient shaper that we have in here to dial back some of the sustain and enhance the attack of the kick as well. One cool feature I'd like to mention about KStrip and touch on that wasn't on the overview video is this new feature that we just added into the plugin in an update called Global Link. So when this mode is active, all that means is whenever I adjust any of these parameters, any knobs in any module, it would apply to the other modules as well. So take, for instance, if I were to max out this EQ on the high end in the S module, it's going to do the same thing on the N module and on the A module. This allows you to shoot out all of the different modules across all of your sound sources and choose the best one that fits your mix. All right, moving on to the snare sample I have. I chose the N module again because I love it on drum shells, as I said before. I drove the saturation in this, but notice how I did not have auto gain turned on. So there is a slight volume boost, but I thought it sounded super cool in the mix. I am cutting 1 to 1.2K just a little bit. There was something pokey that I wasn't a huge fan of. I'm also dipping some more boxiness around 500 to 600, and I'm boosting the low end. And I have similar compressor settings on this as I did the kick drum. Just some very basic snare moves. Let's hear before and after. Moving on to this clean bass tone. In this bass tone, I used the S module saturation. I was in auto gain mode on this one. I boosted some top end, a few dB, some more clank around 2.5 to 3K, a few dB. I brightened up 1K, a few dB. And I was noticing, since this is MIDI bass loves to build up around 120 to 150. So I cut a little bit of that out. And then I just compressed it a little bit at a 2:1 ratio, medium attack, kind of fast release, a little bit of makeup gain, and this is what it sounded like before and after. So just really brightening that up, it kind of almost sounds like you're putting new strings on it. It's a lot brighter, a lot clankier, exactly how I would want my bass to sound. All right, so the next instrument I use KStrip on were these guitar rhythms during the verse happening in the background. This is what it sounds like. And all I did was super simple approach. I left the compression off on this. I used the A saturation and I just dialed in a little bit of brightness to the guitars, and this is what it sounded like before and after. And I applied that to the right side as well. The last instrument I use KStrip on are on these leads, panned left and right. They're tucked underneath those rhythm guitars a little bit, and this is what they sound like. So kind of the same thing. I went ahead and I chose the A saturation with the S style EQ, and the dynamics are turned off. And much like the rhythm guitars, I just did a little bit of brightening up. And this is what that sounds like before and after. It just kind of gives it a nice little crunch on the strings that I really found that I liked in the context of the mix. So let's listen to the whole entire thing now, including the vocals.
I should have known by now you would burn it all to start again. And they never noticed, but I did all the lying. I know you must be proud and no defending everything.
And these are just a few examples of some of the unique ways that you can use KStrip in the context of your mix. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and let us know what ways you have been using KStrip in your mixes in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.